And our thanks to George and Ronnie in Sevilla this evening. Damien, 0-0. I think Ronnie said, look, you know, they perhaps win the second game. Mourinho will say, well, what's all the fuss? What did you make it tonight, though?
You can imagine they will win the second game, although there's not the highest scoring team at home, especially this season. But I think Jose will be happy with the scoreline, the result. But I think as a fan and just watching Man United in general, not just tonight, but, you know, in general, this season, last season, you just can't be happy with the performance. When I think Man United, I think, being biased, the biggest club in the world. Biggest clubs in the world now, I think Munich, Man City, Barcelona. And they'll go there and they dominate Sevilla. But for me, for large periods tonight, Sevilla dominated them. They probed, they kept the ball well. They're a nice football team, you'd say, but lack that real quality, that cutting edge. So, disappointing performance, and I said that's a common theme at the minute for Man United.
All right, in Old Trafford in 3 weeks' time. And actually, Didi, beforehand, you predicted 0-0. So, what are your thoughts now?
A good Sevilla performance. They did everything but score. De Gea came to the rescue a few times. And from Man United's point of view, it was dreadful. It was anti-football in a way. And I think for a club the size of United, for the money they've spent in recent years, I think it was an embarrassing performance.
What do you mean by anti-football?
Well, because they don't try to play football, or they try to play football, or they can't. I'm sure these players haven't become bad players by signing for Manchester United. They are all good players in their own right. But as a team, if I see the way Sevilla, and if I see the way United play in possession, and I haven't got a problem. If he wants to sit back with 10 players and defend 30, 40 yards out, not a problem, because there's more than one way of getting results in winning football matches. But when you do have the ball, I have to expect better. And as Damien said before, they've been dominated throughout the 90 minutes. And if you want to go further in this competition, you have to dominate games yourself. And you've got to be better in possession. And what they served us tonight when they had the ball was dreadful. And there was no combination. It seems like one guy doesn't know what the other guy is doing. We see a few clips afterwards. And they just don't play together. Why that is, I'm sure it's not the manager saying, don't play football. But they give the ball to somebody and say, good luck with it. You go and do something. And if you pass it to me, then I try to do something, find somebody else. There's no interaction. There's no combination football. And it was a bad performance. They got the result they wanted. They may still go to the last 8. But I think the teams, if they do go to the last 8, I think the other 7 teams wouldn't mind playing that Manchester United side.
But Mourinho, I can imagine him, he'll love that idea that everybody wants to play us because they think we're not playing well.
Yeah, but, you know, they've got character, and you can't fault them for what they've done last year, because they got 2 trophies last year. The Europa League got him into that competition because it didn't finish in the top 4. But I think character only gets you so far. And Liam touched on it before. You see all these banners in the United end. You know, you associate, I've been playing at Old Trafford for 10 years, you go there, you see all these banners and you associate it with attacking football, with good football, with combinations, with interaction, with invention, and we haven't seen anything of it. And this has been a common theme now for a number of years, and I think, if anything, it does get worse.
But Liam, let's pick up that point, because you can't just put that all at Mourinho's door. Like Van Gaal, he was criticised because his teams were boring. Moyes was just a mess. Even the last season of Alex Ferguson's reign, when they won the league title, their last one in 2013, there was criticism from Manchester United fans towards their own team about the way they played at that time. People said they won a bad league, everybody else exploded.
I'm sure Manchester United fans would like to have that kind of football back, even in Ferguson's last year. I think it was far more exciting than this, and far more method to it than there is. I don't think they're gelling at all. All the signings that have been brought in, they don't seem to be gelling. And let's be fair, it's over 18 months of his reign. I think David Moyes got a year.
Less, I think.
Yeah,
was he gone in the April?
And they won the Europa League last year not in a stylish fashion either, did they, Dara? They very nearly. No, listen to me.
It served a point and a purpose.
No, listen to me. No, listen to me.
I am listening.
Yeah, well, let me finish then.
Yes.
They could have been knocked out by Celta Vigo in the semi-final, and they won a poor final against a very ordinary side against Ajax. They won the League Cup when Southampton should have beat them in the final. They were the better team, in my opinion. And what was expected of Mourinho hasn't arrived. It's not there yet. I think they're as far away now from winning the Premier League and the Champions League. And let's face it, that's what Man United are all about, those two trophies. They're as far away now as they were when David Moyes was appointed. I can't see them closing the gap on Man City. In fact, I think...
Who is going to close the gap on City, Liam?
Well, it's up to Manchester United. We're talking about the biggest club in the world, or one of the biggest clubs in the world. And they're just not getting near them. You know, I think Damien mentioned it. If that was Man City there tonight, they would have dominated possession against that Seville team. They would have created chances against that Seville team. Manchester United hardly had a shot on target.
Different. We know
Mourinho
about Pep's philosophy.
You can hide behind a 0-0 and say, well, it's a good result away from home. Nobody's denying that. But the way they played was terrible. It was really poor.
I think you have to put it into relation when you watch the other teams, because everybody's raving about the Premier League, 5 teams in the knockout stage. There was a time a few years ago where there was, I think, no English team in the last 8. You watch Spurs. They go to Juventus, they're 2-0 down after 10 minutes. Juventus can't get out their own half for the rest of the game. And they draw the game, and they've got every chance now to go through to the next round. You watch Liverpool going forward, entertaining football, attacking football. They seem to have settled at the back and get a bit more stability with Van Dijk. Great. City we don't need to talk about, probably the most exciting team in Europe at the moment. So if you're a United fan, or a United director for that matter, Charlton and Fergie were at the game tonight. Now, if they watched their football and they watched Spurs last week and they watched Liverpool last week, I don't think they get to sleep tonight, because they must have sleepless nights thinking about what's happening, because it's not only what's happening now. Can you see it getting better? That's a question I'm asking. He extended his contract another year. I think he's got till 2020 now, Mourinho. Now, he's there 18 months. Have they improved in terms of football? I don't think they have.
Well, they have on their league position. They have that they're in the last 16 of this thing. They're the points Man United fans will make, Didi, and you know that. And they'll say, well, there's no trophy handed out in February. Tottenham haven't got the trophy yet. Man City haven't. Pep didn't win anything last year. He's going to win the league this year. Of course, you know all those points. They're the other side.
No, but there's a way of doing it. What do you want to see as a director or as a chairman? You want to see progress. And now you tell me there is progress because they're further up in the league. They probably got 10, 15 points more than last season.
Most points at this stage since Ferguson was there. Those things we can talk about all night.
Well, then you need to see what's happening or what's there at the end of the season. I'm telling you now, they've got no hope in hell to win the Champions League this season. The league seems to have gone. So these are the two competitions where they want to compete. And I couldn't agree more than what Liam says. I think they're further away now than they've ever been.
Well, Damien, what do you think? Now, look, you and your knowledge of him and, I suppose, a more pragmatic approach. OK, he'll turn around and say, I've won 25 major trophies and all that sort of thing. But where do you think they are now in relation to where they were last season and where they're going?
I agree. I don't see a lot of progress, if any at all, any fast improvement. And he's obviously spent money. In defence, did he mention directors there? I'm sure when they sat down at the start, when we're recruiting Jose, they're talking, well, who's going to bring us trophies, who's going to bring us exciting play, or who's going to bring us both? Like, I'm sure they had to admit themselves. For me, Jose, maybe back in the day, maybe he's guaranteed trophies. People always talk about him defensively. He's a defence-minded coach. Is he going to bring the exciting play, which has always been pointed at him? I'd say they must have agreed that no, possibly not that, but they needed to get back on a winning trail after Moyes and Van Gaal. So at the time it was a good appointment. I don't think you can argue that. I really don't think you can, because like I said, when I think of Jose, I think trophies. In defence of him, like you've heard me talk about him in the past, his detail, he's so organised, opposition, what have you. He'll go home tonight relatively happy and think we'll do them at home. He's won the Champions League twice, I think, with Inter Milan and Porto. They were not exciting teams. This is just giving hope and positivity to Man United fans that maybe this Champions League isn't lost. Even though looking at tonight, you would think they ain't gone far in the turn. But Inter weren't a great team, but they're bloody well organised, and so were Porto. My worry, if they don't win it, Spurs are 5th in the Premier League, and I think they're a hell of a good team, and I think you can't disagree with that, especially after Juventus last week. They're going to have to get into the top 4 the way they're playing, and someone's going to have to drop out. A month ago I would have said Chelsea, but again, watching them last night, maybe that's galvanised them a bit. And after watching tonight, someone has to drop out. Could it be Man United? That'd be a hell of a bad season. Out of the top 4. Because Spurs aren't that far off them.
Like for them and for him and the money they've spent not being in the top 4, forget about trophies for a minute, that's non-negotiable, I would have thought. From a Manchester United, the board point of view, the contract with the kit manufacturers, all of that stuff.
I think the point we're making here is you don't see any improvement. With Guardiola last year, the defence was a mess, wasn't it? But he sorted it out. He got 2 new full-backs. He got a better goalkeeper. I know he has endless money at his disposal, but so has Mourinho. Mourinho spent 300 million.
Well, actually, net spend Mourinho 294. Net spend Pep 405 million euro.
Yeah, but I think Guardiola spent it better than Mourinho.
We spent more of it.
Well, he spent it better than Mourinho. I don't see. You see the players that Guardiola's brought in. The team has gelled. The team understands one another. But like the point Didi made and I made, and I think Damien is making as well, is there's no kind of method to their play. There's no pattern. And players who are supposedly world class, costing 70, 80, 90 million pounds, are making elementary mistakes. Now, if I was a Manchester United supporter, and I used to be, by the way, and I was a Manchester United supporter because of the players that you saw playing, Best, Law and Charlton in the 60s. And then Ferguson took over that tradition and honoured that tradition. I don't think Mourinho's going down that road.
He is. Well, he's bringing young players through, and we saw, that's a Man United tradition.
What young players is he bringing
through? McTominay came through this evening. There's the stat about, they've had a youth player. Well, Pogba, you could argue, was a youth player, and he's come back to the club. But there are young players in that. Rashford was a young player.
Yeah,
Van Gaal brought him in.
Rashford wasn't on the pitch tonight at the start. And I must admit, when he did come on, it looked like something might happen for Manchester United. But it's picked them out of a hat. It's picked them out of a hat, and let's see what they can do. And I don't think...
I wouldn't say it's that way, Liam, is it? Like, he's got to have a plan.
Well, you tell me that...
I can't tell you. That's not my job to tell you. But I'm
telling you, the team keeps changing week in, week out. Why is that?
You tell me.
Because he doesn't know what his best team is. And when somebody doesn't play well, that's him out. Pogba wasn't playing tonight. They spent 90 million on him at the start of the season.
They had one chance from open play tonight. Good ball by Sanchez, arguably. Very poor finish from Lukaku. There's one chance in 90 odd minutes. And apart from that, the only hope I thought they had to score was off a set piece. They didn't get in an awful lot of set pieces because Sevilla had most of the ball. And to me, it looks, we defend deep, fine. But when you do have the ball, you've got to do something with it. And you've got to test, and you have to make sure you work the opposition when you do have the ball. It looks like we hoof the ball long, Lukaku can keep 1 or 2 of them balls, bring one into play.
But the best signing he's made on the evidence that we've seen so far this season is Matic.
Yeah.
And if Matic wasn't there tonight, I think they would have got beat 2-0 because he held it all together. He protected that defence because that defence is not good enough. Lindelof.
Well, he knows that. He said he wants 2 centre backs. I think that's for next summer.
That was my point there. Like, you talk about defending, but like when I think of Man U, dynamic pace, excitement, whatever. But I also think possession. That's what the top teams, they keep the ball, and your centre backs have to get you started. And I'm watching them all season. Jones doesn't want the ball. Smalling doesn't want the ball. Lindelof ain't good on the ball. So you got a problem there from the start, and I think you said, 350 mil net spend. Like, you're going another 100, 150 to get to
sure, absolutely. And Van Dijk,
you didn't see the full-backs get in a crossing position once.
No, but look,
Lara, no, let me. You didn't get Valencia down the outside once. You didn't get Ashley Young down the outside once. Now that tells you that you're not playing well. When you're playing well, you get your full-backs overlapping and getting crosses in. Didn't see that tonight.
And look, as you say, he'll point to the result and say 0-0. But like tonight, Didi was his 140th Champions League match as a manager. Like, we know his style. Damien played for him. We know the way it's more pragmatic. It's certainly not like, how many of those 140 games would we actually remember forever? Yeah. Like the Inter Milan-Barcelona game where they had 30-something% of the ball and it was this brilliant defensive thing. Yeah. But it was remembered for frustrating Barcelona.
But Dara, they played Inter Milan on the night, played against a superhuman team. And when you do that, you have to have a plan how to nullify the opposition. Today, they played against a team that's 30 points behind Barcelona in the league. They didn't play against world beaters, they played against a good team, but in European terms, in Champions League terms, an average team. And it was just not enough. And what they lack, and what I want to see of a team, when they do have the ball, to express themselves, to appreciate having the ball. Because at the end of the day, we play football not to defend. We have to defend and earn the right to play. When you have the ball, I want players expressing themselves, trying things, doing things, playing with each other, and creating things. And they've got players in their team who can do that. But I don't think they appreciate having the ball. I think that's got something to do with him. And hence the way they do play football. And it isn't football. They defend well, yes, but when they do have the ball, they're probably the worst team left in the competition. And this is for a club that's spent
a lot of money,
300 million, and has the tradition of playing open, attacking football. Inter Milan suited Mourinho down to the ground. Inter Milan's traditions are quite the opposite to Manchester United. They've won trophies defensively, and he suited that. And when he went to Real Madrid, he got the Real Madrid job because they were struggling a bit to keep up with Barcelona. And I think he did win a league, didn't he? But the fans weren't happy with him. And my point is, he's a great manager, don't get me wrong, but he's not a fit for Manchester United. And it's showing.
OK, all right. Well, look, let's look at the good stuff we saw from Sevilla this evening. And they had a number of chances, Damien, and you're going to talk us through these.
Yeah, all the good chances, really. They probed all night. I guess you'd describe them as a nice team, but lacked that X factor, that cutting edge. Like I said, good play here, moving Man United about, and a shot from distance, obviously snatches at it, just gone wide. But better chances all night. Good header here at the back post, good hands from De Gea, that's why he's the best in the world, I guess. Correa drops out to the right this time. He was a threat all night, and great ball, and defended well by Smalling, letting it pass by. Lindelof here again, not a good header, struggled all night. And one-on-one in the box, never looked comfortable. And great ball, and Vasquez on the back post, which I know he's stretching for it, but he can still do better. But they'll be disappointed not scoring, because they have a big task in their hands going across to Old Trafford.
Liam, they had a big shout for a penalty in the second half.
Yeah, in my opinion, it was a penalty. It was a difficult one for the referee, but I think that's Matic getting a block in again. I don't think that Pogba sees Navas arriving and sticks his leg out in a kind of lazy fashion, and I think he takes Navas's right leg there. And for me, that's a penalty. Okay, Navas exaggerated it with a bit of a dive, but there was definitely contact, and it definitely put Navas off. So I think United got away with that one.
All right. The stuff, Didi, from Manchester United that didn't work in the second half.
Yeah, I don't think they've got an awful lot of ability, confidence in their own ability. This is just before half-time. This is one thing they usually do well. Valencia follows up a mistake of the corner with another mistake, gives the ball away. And 2 minutes before half-time, at 0-0, you get a counter-attack. They're 3v2, 4v3 here. And with a better ball, the Sevilla player on the far side would have been 1-on-1 with De Gea. Again here, easy possession. Look at this, Pogba. I think his confidence is shot to bits personally. Somehow he needs to try to get him back playing and get his confidence back. This is Lukaku. Look at this for a ball. I don't know what he saw, what he wanted to do there. Plays it straight into the Sevilla's players' legs. And it was throughout the night. It was one-way traffic. When they did get the ball, they gave it straight back to Sevilla. Here, they get gifted the ball. Pogba gives it straight back, and there's no no coincidence that you don't see flow in football when every time after 2 or 3 passes the ball is gone, and this was the icing of the cake on the cake. Pogba with a shot that goes 20 or 30 yards wide. This is towards the end. Lukaku gets the ball. He's got to keep hold of the ball, bring other players into play, gives it straight away, and this is why there's no flow to their game.
The evidence
and it was hard to watch. It was a hard watch all night.
You had Lukaku, you had Pogba. These are the guys who are supposed to make the difference, you know, and they're not doing it. And I don't know what it's down to, whether it's down to the style that Mourinho wants to play them in. We've seen Sanchez get substituted tonight. He looks a shadow of the player he was at Arsenal. They've really got problems, Manchester United. There's a good bit of the season to go, and this result should enable them to progress in the competition. But, I'll say it again, they're as far away as from winning the Champions League and the Premier League as when Mourinho first arrived.
Okay, I think the worrying thing is for United, if you put De Bruyne into that team, I think this team will make De Bruyne look an average player. And this is I think, the biggest worry for United fans, that players go there with a huge reputation, they go there and they seem to have lost all love for football or the way to pass the ball.
OK, one player who is doing his stuff, Damien, for Manchester United, and he has been for quite a while, is David De Gea.
Yet again, proves why he's the best shot stopper in the world. I think it's Nzonzi here, the first header. Always agile, always ready. I said they'll do well to keep hold of him, and he's always getting linked to Real Madrid, and they've done well to keep hold of him till now. And this is Muriel. You can see he played really well tonight instead of Ben Yedder. And again, point blank, but brilliant athlete, brilliant goalkeeper.
OK, lads, very good. We're going to leave it there.